Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. So class 8, this is our physics class and we are doing chapter number 2, measurement. So now we are going to compare the densities in the three states of matter. And what are the three states of matter? Can you tell me? We have already discussed the three states of matter are solid, liquid and gas. And example, we are taking water. So solid form of water is ice and liquid form is water and gaseous form is steam. We have already discussed about the molecular arrangement in the three states of matter, that is solid, liquid and gas. This is the molecular arrangement in solids, and we know that the molecules are very tightly packed and intermolecular spaces are negligible. Intermolecular force is very strong. And here in the liquids we can see that molecules are less closely packed than solids, and we can see some intermolecular spaces here, and intermolecular force of attraction is weak. And in case of gases, what do we see here? The molecules are far apart from each other and intermolecular spaces are very large, and intermolecular force of attraction is negligible. So this we have already done in lesson number 1, and again we have discussed it in lesson number 2. So what happens in case of solids? The intermolecular space is negligible as the molecules are very closely packed, while in liquids the intermolecular spaces are more than solids as the molecules are loosely packed in comparison to solids. And in gases, the intermolecular spaces are much greater than solids and liquids. So the molecules of gases are very loosely packed, or they are free to move in any direction, and they occupy the whole space which is available to them. So we can say that a substance is highly dense. Here we can see the density is much more. A substance is highly dense in solid state and it is less dense in liquid state and least dense in gaseous state. So density depends on the arrangement of molecules. If the molecules are very closely packed or very tightly packed and intermolecular space is negligible, it means density is maximum here. And if they are less closely packed, then density is less here, less dense. And if they are very loosely packed, intermolecular spaces are much more. So here we can say that it is least dense. Density is least here. So we can say that the density of a substance in its solid state is maximum, and in its liquid state is intermediate, and in its gaseous state it is minimum. Here is maximum, here is intermediate, and here is minimum. Very less dense, and here highly dense. As we know that a substance is highly dense in its solid state, less dense in liquid state, and least dense in gaseous state. So density of a substance is maximum in solid state, intermediate in liquid state, and minimum in its gaseous state. But here in case of water, water is an exceptional case. Water is different from most of the substances. It is less dense as a solid. Other solids are highly dense, but water in its solid form is less dense than in its liquid form. Now what is the reason? The reason is that its particles move apart slightly on freezing. On freezing, they slightly move apart, so they occupy more space and then they become less dense. So density of ice is less than that of water. Density of ice is 0.917 gram per cubic centimeter and that of water is 1 gram per cubic centimeter. Now here we can see that the molecules in water are very closely packed. We cannot see the intermolecular spaces. Intermolecular space is negligible, and here in case of ice, we are seeing some spaces here. Intermolecular spaces are there. Molecules are less closely packed. So water is different from other substances. In its liquid form it is more dense, and in its solid form it is less dense. Now here also we can see the molecular arrangement of water at 4 degrees Celsius. The molecules are closely packed, very tightly packed at 4 degrees Celsius, and this is 0 degrees Celsius, or this is the molecular arrangement of ice, water in its solid form. So here we can see spaces, and here molecules are closely packed, very tightly packed. So water is more dense in its liquid form and less dense in its solid form. Now let's see what is the reason behind that water in its solid form is less dense. Its particles move slightly apart on freezing. Particles move slightly apart on freezing, so there are some intermolecular spaces in between, so it is less dense in its solid form. Now next topic is flotation and sinking. Now let's see which objects float and which objects sink and why. So now let's see what floats and what sinks. Now some things float while some things sink, and all is because of density. Density is the molecular arrangement. Now if the more is the mass and less air an object has, it is more dense. Means if mass is more and intermolecular space is very less, so it is more dense, and if it is less dense, it floats. If it is more dense, then it will sink. So now let's see why do objects sink or float. A submerged object displaces a volume of fluid which is equal to its own volume. Suppose this is the object which is submerged in this fluid, so it will displace the same volume of fluid which is equal to its own volume. Now this is partly submerged, only a portion is submerged, so it will displace a volume of fluid which is equal to the volume of only this portion, and the rest of the portion is above the surface, so it is floating. Whenever any object is immersed in a liquid, the liquid exerts an upward force on that object, and this upward force is called the buoyant force. So according to Archimedes' principle, for a body floating in a fluid, the upward buoyant force which is exerted by the liquid, this force, upward force, it is equal to the weight of the fluid which is displaced by this object. Now what is Archimedes' principle? According to this principle, if any body is floating in a fluid and the fluid is exerting an upward force which is called buoyant force, so this upward force is equal to the weight of the liquid displaced by that object. So whenever an object is immersed in a liquid, there are two forces acting on it. One is the buoyant force which is exerted by the liquid on the object, and it acts vertically upwards. It acts vertically in the upward direction. And second is the weight of the object, which acts in vertically downward direction. So buoyant force has a tendency to move the object up. It moves the object up. And this force is equal to the weight of the liquid displaced by the immersed part of the object. This is the immersed part of the object. So this buoyant force, which is acting vertically upwards, this is equal to the weight of the liquid which is displaced by this immersed part of the object. Now second is weight of the object, which is acting vertically downwards, and this force has a tendency to sink the object. It can sink the object. According to the principle of flotation, whether the object will float or sink, it depends upon the magnitude of the weight and buoyant force. As there are two forces acting on the object, one is the buoyant force, which is acting vertically upwards, and the other is the weight of the object, which is acting vertically downwards. So whether the object will float or whether it will sink, it all depends on the magnitude of weight and buoyant force. So now let's see what happens. Whether the object will float or sink, it depends on the magnitude of weight and buoyant force. So when the weight of the object is greater than the buoyant force, it will sink. This happens when the density of the object is greater than the density of the liquid. When the density of the object is greater, it will sink. Then when the weight of the object is less than the buoyant force, it will partially float above the surface. And this happens when the density of the object is less than the density of the liquid. And now when the weight of the object is equal to the buoyant force, then the object will float in the liquid below the surface of the liquid. And this happens when the density of the object is equal to the density of the liquid. So if the object is heavier or it is more dense than the liquid, or if the weight of the object is greater than the buoyant force, it will sink. And if the weight of the object is less than the buoyant force, it will partially float above the surface. And if the weight of the object and the buoyant force are equal, then it will float below the surface of the liquid. So now let's again have a look. According to Archimedes' principle, the buoyant force in an object is equal to the weight of the fluid displaced by the object. Now the buoyant force which is exerted by the liquid on the object, it is equal to the weight of the fluid which is displaced by the object. The buoyant force is equal to the weight of the fluid which is displaced by the object. If the weight of the object is greater than the buoyant force, then the object will sink. If the weight of the object is greater than the buoyant force, it means it is heavier or its density is more than the liquid, so it will sink. The object will sink. But if the weight of the object is less than the buoyant force or it is less dense than the liquid, then it will float. The object will float. Now again let's discuss this point we have already discussed, that if the density of an object is equal to the density of the fluid in which it is immersed, the object will neither rise nor it will sink, it will float just below the surface of water. If the weight of the object is equal to the buoyant force, or if the density of the object is equal to the density of the fluid in which it is immersed, the object neither rises nor sinks, it just floats below the surface of that fluid. Now this also we have already discussed. In previous lecture I have discussed this, that water has a density of 1 gram per milliliter or 1 gram per cubic centimeter, If an object has a density greater than 1 gram per milliliter, then it will sink in water. And if an object has a density less than 1 gram per milliliter, it will float in water. This we have already discussed. Now, if the density of the object is greater than 1 gram per milliliter, it will sink. If its density is less than 1 gram per milliliter, it will float in water. Now again let's discuss this point we have already discussed, that if the density of an object is equal to the density of the fluid in which it is immersed, the object will neither rise nor it will sink, it will float just below the surface of water. If the weight of the object is equal to the buoyant force, or if the density of the object is equal to the density of the fluid in which it is immersed, the object neither rises nor sinks, it just floats below the surface of that fluid. Now once again let's have a look on the 3 points. An object that is more dense, or if the density is greater than the fluid in which it is immersed, it will sink. If the object is heavier or more dense than the fluid in which it is immersed, it will sink. But if the object is less dense than the fluid in which it is immersed, it will float. And if the density of the object is equal to the density of the fluid, then it will neither sink nor it will float. It will be just below the surface of the fluid. Now we have already discussed this, that ice is the solid form of water, and water in its solid form is less dense. Water is different from most of the substances, and in its solid form it is less dense, and the reason is that the particles or the molecules move slightly apart on freezing, so volume increases and density decreases. Now, so why does ice float? The reason is that ice is less dense, density is less than water, so it floats. Now what is law of flotation? When an object floats in a liquid, what happens? The weight of the liquid which is displaced by the immersed part of the object is equal to the total weight of the object. Now what is the law of flotation? Whenever any object floats in a liquid, the weight of the liquid which is displaced by the immersed part of that object is equal to the total weight of that object. So we can say that an object will float in a liquid when its weight is equal to or less than the weight of the liquid which is displaced by it. An object will float in a liquid when its weight is either equal to the weight of the liquid displaced by it or less than the weight of the liquid displaced by it. So an object floats with its more portion outside the surface of the liquid, having more density than that of the liquid having less density. If the liquid in which it is immersed is more dense, then the object will float with its more portion outside the surface. And if the liquid is less dense, then it will float with small portion outside the surface of the liquid. If the weight of the object is less than the liquid displaced by it, it will float. If the weight of the object is more than the liquid displaced by it, it will sink. And if the weight of the object and the liquid displaced by it are equal, it will remain in equilibrium. So according to law of flotation, an object will float in a liquid only when its weight is equal to or less than the weight of the liquid displaced by it. If its weight is more than the weight of the liquid displaced by it, it will sink. And if its weight is equal to the weight of the liquid displaced by it, it will remain in equilibrium and it will be below the surface of the liquid. Let's have a look once again. Now there are two forces acting on an object when it is immersed in the liquid. One is the buoyant force, which acts vertically upwards, and it is the force which is exerted by the liquid on the object. And second force is the weight of the object, which acts vertically downwards. So there are two forces acting on the object. If the buoyant force and the weight are equal, then the object floats. If the buoyant force is greater than the weight of the object, then object moves up or it floats above the surface of the liquid. If the buoyant force is less than the weight of the liquid, then the object moves down or it sinks. This is a hydrometer and it is based on the principle of flotation, and it is especially designed to float in a liquid. Use a hydrometer. The hydrometer, it is especially designed to float in a liquid. The lower bulb is made heavy by filling it with mercury. Here lower bulb is made heavy by filling it with mercury or lead shots to keep it upright. Now the thin narrow stem is graduated. This is a thin narrow stem. It is graduated in such a way that the mark up to which it sinks gives us the value of the relative density of the liquid. So when the hydrometer floats higher, it shows that the liquid has a higher density. If it floats higher, it means liquid is highly dense. And some special hydrometers are designed to test whether a battery is fully charged or not. So there are some special hydrometers to test whether a battery is fully charged or not, and it is also used to test whether the milk is pure or not, and the hydrometer which is used to test the purity of milk is called lactometer. So one of the applications of principle of flotation is the hydrometer. Now we see that huge masses of ice float in seawater. These are called icebergs. So icebergs float in water with 1/12 of their volume above the surface of water and 11/12 is below or underwater. So they are very dangerous for ships due to their non-visibility. So now such huge icebergs, they float in seawater. So what is the reason? The reason is the same, that water in its solid form is less dense. So such huge masses of ice also float in seawater, and 1/12 of their volume is above the surface of water and 11/12 is underwater. So due to their non-visibility, they are very dangerous for ships. Now next application is flotation of a ship. Now why do ships float? Such huge ships, they float. An iron nail sinks in water. A small iron nail, it sinks in water, but a huge ship which is made of iron and steel, it floats in water. What is the reason behind that? This is because the density of iron nail is greater. The molecules are more densely packed in an iron nail. It is heavier. Its density is greater than the density of water, so it sinks. And a ship is designed in such a way that it has a large volume and empty spaces inside it. So when the volume is large and empty spaces are there, its density is reduced as compared to the density of water. So such a huge ship can float and an iron nail can sink. This is all because of density. Density of iron nail is greater than the density of water, and density of a huge ship is less than the density of water. So such a huge ship, it can float in water. So one more application is there. It is the flotation of a balloon, and we know that when a gas like hydrogen or helium whose density is less than the density of air is filled in a balloon, the balloon rises in air. It has helium or hydrogen gas and it is less dense than air, so balloon rises up in air. So the weight of the air displaced by the inflated balloon becomes greater than the weight of the gas filled balloon. Weight of the air which is displaced by this inflated balloon is greater than the weight of the gas which is filled inside this balloon. So the buoyant force on the balloon is greater than the weight of the balloon. When the weight of the balloon is less than the buoyant force, or the buoyant force is greater than the weight of the balloon rises up and it floats in air.